make homemade dumplings, first we need to make the dumpling dough. For that, you'll need 2 cups all-purpose flour and a little over 3/4 cup just boiled water. For the water, you'll want to leave it on the counter to cool for about 2 minutes after boiling so it won't be too hot to handle. Shape your kitchen towel into a circle and fit your bowl in the middle to prevent it from moving about while you work. Put the flour in the bowl and make a well in the center. Use a wooden spoon to stir the flour as you add 3/4 cup of the hot water in a steady stream. You don't have to do it simultaneously, just aim to evenly moisten the flour. Once the water has been added, use your hands to knead the dough to bring all the lumps together in one mass. Don't worry, it won't be too hot to the touch. If the dough doesn't come together easily, add water by the teaspoon until it does. The dough should still be a little sticky. Now transfer the dough to a clean work surface, flouring only if the dough sticks. Knead the dough with the heel of your hand for about 2 minutes. After kneading, the dough should be nearly smooth and somewhat elastic. Press your finger on the surface of the dough to test it. It should slowly bounce back with a light impression of your finger remaining. Now place the dough in a Ziploc bag, expelling any air before sealing. Set aside the dough for 15 minutes up to 2 hours. The dough will steam inside the bag and become soft. After this rest period, you can either use the dough immediately or refrigerate it overnight. Just remember to return it to room temperature before using. For the filling, put 2 cups chopped cabbage in a bowl and toss with some salt. Set aside to allow the salt to draw out the excess moisture from the cabbage. After 15 minutes, drain the cabbage in a mesh strainer and flush with water, then drain again. To remove moisture as much as possible, squeeze the cabbage in your hands over the sink. You will be left with about 1/2 cup firmly packed cabbage. Transfer this cabbage to a bowl and add ginger, chives, and ground pork. Use a fork or spatula to stir the ingredients, lightly mashing them together in the process. In a small bowl, put together salt, pepper, chicken stock or water, soy sauce, rice wine, canola oil, and sesame oil. Now mix this together thoroughly. Pour the seasoning over the pork and cabbage mixture. Then stir and fold the ingredients together. Once all the pork is broken up into small pieces, briskly stir to blend the ingredients into a thick and sticky mixture. To develop the flavors, cover and set aside at room temperature for 30 minutes. You can also prepare the filling a day ahead and refrigerate. Bring back to room temp before using. And now, as our filling rests, it's time to make the dumpling wrappers. Remove your rested dough from the bag and put on a lightly floured surface. Cut in half and place 1/2 back into the bag for later. Now roll your dough into an even inch-thick log. Cut into 16 pieces. Quarter it first and slice each quarter in half. Then slice in half again. This will help make even pieces. If you want to be super precise, you can weigh your dough. If your dough pieces are oval-shaped, stand them cut side down and shape into rounds. And then take each piece of dough and pat them into a bit of flour to stop them from sticking to your work surface. Flatten them a bit with your fingers, then flip them over and do the same on the other side. Now we flatten the dough rounds further. The book suggests using a tortilla press, but since I don't have that, I just use my flattened palm. You can also use a flat, heavy object, but for me, the palm works just fine. Set your semi-flattened pieces of dough to one side of your work surface. It's okay if they overlap a little bit. Now we roll the dough. Take one of the flattened wrappers and hold it with your thumb, gently resting near the center. This will act as your guide so that you won't roll the pin over the belly of the wrapper. Apply pressure using the rolling pin on the outer border of the wrapper in downward strokes toward your body. Keep your thumb at the center as you rotate the dough bit by bit until the whole wrapper has been rolled out. The goal is to create a wrapper that is larger in size but with a thick belly. This belly is what helps keep the filling inside the dumpling as it is cooked. Don't worry if your wrappers don't look like perfect circles since we'll be shaping them anyway. To shape, hold the wrapper in a cupped hand. Place a little over half a tablespoon of filling, slightly off-center toward the upper half of the wrapper. Fold the wrapper to enclose the filling. Gently push the dumpling down on the work surface to steady the dumpling and press the edges firmly to seal. This is called the half moon shape. You can stop here or continue on to make a pea pod. From the half moon dumpling, pleat the edges from one side to another. You can pleat them in whatever size you wish. I like my dumplings with many small pleats. You can also shape big hugs from half moon dumplings. Take the two pointed ends of a half moon and make them meet at the center, pressing the ends to seal. Push and fold the dumpling to fix its shape and make it stand. Place your finished dumplings on a parchment-lined tray half-inch apart, keeping them covered with a dry kitchen towel. Once all dumplings for this half of the dough is finished, repeat the process with the other half of the dough in the Ziploc bag. Once all the dumplings have been shaped, you can freeze them in the baking tray about 1 hour until hard. Then transfer them to a Ziploc bag, pressing out excess air before sealing. This way, they will keep for about 1 month in the freezer. You can also refrigerate your freshly shaped dumplings for a few hours and cook straight from the fridge. I like to cook mine right after I make the dumplings. To cook, fill a large pot halfway full with water and bring to a boil over high heat. Gently drop a few pieces of the dumplings into the water. Nudge them apart with a wooden spoon to stop them from sticking to each other and the bottom of the pot. Lower the heat to return the water to a simmer and gently cook the dumplings for about 8 minutes or until they float to the surface and look puffy and a bit translucent. Lift the dumplings out, pausing at the top of the pot to allow excess water to drip down before putting the dumplings on a serving plate. Return the water to a boil and repeat the cooking process. Serve your pork and cabbage dumplings with soy sauce and enjoy!